So the debate was Thursday. We all saw it. More importantly, the average American saw it. There is no denying it now. There is no way that this senile, geriatric old man can remain president for the next 6 months, let alone for the next 4 years.
You're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
I know it sounds biased, but I'm not coming from a point of politics or activism. I'm just coming from a point of deductive reasoning and common sense. And to help me illustrate that, I bring to you my baby brother, the one and only Frosty. Frosty, talk to me. What did you see on Thursday?
Okay, it's been a minute, but absolutely. I was late to see the debate. Well, only maybe like hour late. And I was driving home and I was listening to it. And I knew it was coming, but to see the train wreck and in all its glory, it's like, okay, cool. They've been hiding it for a while, saying cheap fakes and all that thing with the White House. John, what's her name? The something Pierre.
Yeah, Jean-Pierre, whatever. I call the world's greatest liar because, dude.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's what I say about Karine Jean-Pierre. I think that's what it is. I think that's her name. I think my biggest problem with her is, okay, as press secretary, I get it. Your job is to cover your boss's ass. I understand that. But there are times where she just comes from a place of either extreme denial or sheer incompetence. Remember, this is the same woman who a couple of years ago who tried to tell Peter Vesey, they're not just walking across the border.
They're allowed to stay. Why?
But that's not how it works. Like, we actually, no.
I know that that's not what you guys want to happen, but that is what has happened.
But that's not, it's not like somebody walks over. It's not like somebody walks over.
It's not like somebody walks over.
We saw group after group after group walking on the road behind us after they crossed illegally into the United States. They opened up those gates and they let every single one of those migrants through. This was a single massive group of about 150 illegal immigrants that crossed in the middle of broad daylight. An absolutely enormous single group of migrants crossing illegally into Eagle Pass in broad daylight.
It's not like somebody walks over.
And she had to be shown footage. No, they're actually walking across the border. Do you remember that moment?
Yeah, I mean that's
when she goes. They're just not walking across. Yeah, dumbass. That's how they getting here. They're just walking across the border.
I wonder, was it during the 2020 election when they were talking about coyotes and people didn't know what coyotes were? Like on the board, they thought there were actual people riding on dogs across the border. It's like, my God, see, this is why people who didn't live in any border state didn't understand some of the trials and tribulations of what it takes to deal with this illegal immigration. They just think that, oh, it's supposed to be all good and everything. But thankfully, I got to give it up to, Abbott and DeSantis and probably some other governors that decided to start shipping these people in large quantities to those states that say, we're a sanctuary state or a city. Okay, now handle it. And then, as I think it was somewhere in last year, the beginning of this year, they start crying like, oh my God, we can't handle this. It's like, but this is what you wanted.
Unfortunately, what we're already seeing through many of the numbers are they are actually ignoring the court order. They're really not deporting criminal aliens here in the country. They're really not deporting people that a federal court has told them that they have a notice to be able to leave the country. They're not following through on that final order of removal.
Yeah, it is. I think that, but I believe Karine Jean-Pierre's statements to the press are actually, she's probably more reflective of the administration, of her administration, more than any other spokesperson has been, because she speaks like a senile idiot. She does. Dude,
Yeah.
her comments are that you go, she can't be serious. And when it comes to debate, and you know I've said this several times, my biggest problem with Trump was he did not behave himself in a presidential manner.
Mm-hmm.
There were too many times he resorted to petulant name calling and all those things. No matter how catchy or how entertaining it was, there are certain things that you have to expect from a president or any leader, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very impressed during the debate when he simply did what, if I was his advisor, he did exactly what he should have done. You don't have to say too much of nothing. All you got to do is let them destroy themselves.
I think from the remember. I don't know if you remember from the 2020 debate. The first debate, Trump was just like punching and swinging.
Yeah,
it was like aggressive. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, that's too much." And then second debate, he calmed down and kind of just got to his own. But this is like that, but even better.
Beautifully executed.
They said when I was listening to it, I'm like, yes, please do this. This is what I wanted. This is the Trump that I wanted, as into just let him talk, say his piece. But I think, you know what, at first I thought some of the rules from CNN debate were kind of like, man, kind of, stupid, but it actually worked out in favor.
It did. I thought it was going to hamper Trump myself, a lot of the rules, but it was so. Here's when I knew that Trump was on his game and actually amenable to change.
Mm-hmm.
He made his point, and there were moments where he had time left over.
Yes,
and they say, hey, you still have time left, and he, bring up something else. I was very okay. So even he knows how to bing, bing, hit it and stop.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hit it. Here's the point, and back up.
I felt like he talked to his boy Vivek. I feel like,
oh yeah.
I feel like they had a conversation about this. Like, man, President Trump, I think this is the way you should handle it, or maybe some other people in the camp too. Like, man, this is what we already know. Biden is already, train wreck. All we got to do is just stick to our points, hit it, and just sit back and let it watch.
And that was all they had to do. I believe that with the way that it went down, with dude, it was, and I don't want to take it. I want this to be understood in the way I mean it. This was more about Biden losing than Trump winning, because sure, Trump had some solid points. He got some things in, but it was an absolute implosion of Biden. And you could tell it was by the panic that set across his mainstream media. Yeah. When MSNBC immediately goes on after the debate and starts discussing replacements, the ironically named Joy Reid even had to go, hey, well, we're not in full-blown panic yet, but we're getting there.
That said, I too was on the phone throughout much of the debate with Obama world people, with Democrats, with people who are political operatives, with campaign operatives. My phone really never stopped buzzing throughout. And the universal reaction was somewhere approaching panic. But Joe Biden's job was to reassure them tonight. His job was to calm his party, to make them feel that, yes, I can do this. I have 4 more years in me. I have the ability and the stamina and the strength to do 4 more years. He did not do that. He did the opposite of that. He made them more panicked. The people who were texting me were even more panicked. They actually expected it to be better than it was. And now they're in I won't say a full-fledged panic, but it's getting there.
She had to... But
I'm sorry,
just real quick. this is something else that I'm glad it happened, and why they're panicking now is because the press. Here's the part that pisses me off: the press has known this about Biden for a long time,
Absolutely.
but now with it being such a highly publicized, televised debate, they can't deny it anymore. Because if they would have gone on, if they would have immediately gone on after that and go, "Oh man, great job by Biden,"
What the hell are you talking about?
then what little remaining credibility they have, even with their diehard followers, and I'm referring to the mainstream media, even with their diehard followers, it would have all gone up in smoke. Poof. You couldn't believe them. Even they would have known at that point there is no honesty in the mainstream media. All right. That was just a taste. If you want the whole meal, then follow us over on Rumble under Free Mind Thinkers. There you'll get the whole, unedited, full context version of this video. This is your man, Big Brother Tucker, reminding you to stand up, stand out, think differently. Holla.